Hey folks, now that our service wire is all connected and everything, we've got one more thing to do before we can call the power company and tell them we're ready for them to come do their part. And that is, we've got to put in our grounding rod and get that all wired up. So basically what we've got an 8-foot copper clad grounding rod. Our power company had very specific requirements of what they want. It either had to be copper or copper clad. I just grabbed this at Lowe's and copper clad is what they carried, so that's what I grabbed. It's 8 foot long. It's got to be 6 inches away from the structure. So we're very specific on that. So you have to check with your company if you're doing the same thing. They may have different requirements. But our company wants it 6 inches from the structure. So I measured 6 inches. It also has to be an undisturbed ground. So I had to come over a little bit to get away from the conduit that we just run because we dug that ground up. So this ground is undisturbed, solid. And now we've got to drive this thing in. So most folks would just drive this in with a sledgehammer. That's a little bit too much for me. I ain't most folks. So we're going to get it started with a little hammer, but then we're going to use a little technology to get it done easier. First thing I'm doing is just making sure that I've kind of got it plumb. I mean, it'll probably go crooked when I drive it, but at least I'm starting best I can. And honestly, so far it's actually going in pretty easy. And right there we hit something hard, probably a rock. So that's as far as I'm going to go by hand. Now we're going to use a little technology and see if we can make it any easier. Let me see how far I got it in. Okay, driving that by hand, we got it 1 foot 9 inches before we hit a hard spot, probably a rock. We'll see if this baby's going to drive it through a rock. Here's our trick. We got an 18-pound Bauer demolition hammer. And we got this bit for it. It uses SDS Max bits, and this is just a grounding rod driver. It's got a hole in here that'll fit over the rod, and then this is gonna hammer. So we're gonna see if this thing works better. We bought this demolition hammer, I don't know how many years ago. I've used it. This is probably about the 4th time I've used it, and it seems like every time I use this thing it pays for itself. So we're gonna see if it's paying for itself still. But it's Harbor Freight, so you know, most of their tools ain't that expensive, and believe me, I've got my money's worth out of it already. Got electricity. I'm pretty sure that just busted right through that rock. Because it stopped for a second and then it started going. We're gaining ground fast like this. Man, that's going down easy. It's like driving it through a thing of butter. So, yeah, this thing just paid for itself again. Well, there's step one, put the grounding rod in the ground, and boy, I tell you what, that little hack made it really easy. This little bit, that's all it is. I think I got it, I don't remember if I got it from Amazon or if I got it through eBay, but it wasn't very expensive. This one fits my hammer, which is uses a SDS Max. But they also had them for smaller, like we've got that hammer drill, and it's got a demolition mode that'll run the hammer without running the drill, and they sell a this and an SDS Plus also, which would fit that. Now this is 18 pounds, this hammer drill, so it's quite a bit heavier than that little hammer drill, this demolition hammer. That's why I went with it. But I think the other one would have worked, at least in our soil. So, hey, that's good to know. Hopefully that helps somebody out. The next thing we've got to do is run conduit. Now you can run bare wire and secure it to the structure if you can guarantee it won't get damaged. I don't remember the verbiage on that, but we're just going to run conduit just to be on the safe side so we don't have to worry about it. And the knockout, I chose this one here for a couple of reasons. One reason, because it's protected by this big 4-inch conduit that runs our service line. And number two is because I got a ridge right here and they want it secured to the building, so I need a ridge to be able to tie it down. It's going to be interesting how I do that. I may have to heat the pipe and put some bends or whatever to get it how I need to get it, but they require a minimum of 1/2-inch conduit. We're using 3/4 because that's what we've got and it works. They do want you to have an adapter, a lock nut, and a bushing, and that's their requirement, not mine, but we go with it. That's on there tight. Put my bushing on top. And so we're set there. Next thing I gotta do is measure for my conduit. Now we've also got a 90 that's gonna go at the bottom. So I think what I'm going to do is put my, I think I'll do it this way. Use the bell end, so I've got another bell end, and then we'll put a little extension piece on and take it right over to our grounding rod. So basically I'm going to run it down like that, and then I'll put another piece in there to extend it out right to the grounding rod. Alright, so I need to offset my pipe to get it to go up against the building so I can strap it to the building. And in order to do that, I need to move 1 3/4 inches. So I got a piece of straight conduit here. I'm going to heat it up, and basically I measured. So if I put the pipe there, or I put 2 black marks in between, and then I get the output to end up on the edge of the 2x4 here, then that gives me that 1 3/4 inch offset that I need. So the key is going to be to heat it up the right amount and get it to bend to bring over the way we need it. So that's the challenge. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so we got it hot. It's all flexible. I've got it in the position I want, and now I'm just trying to let it cool down so it'll stay like that. So we got it dry fitted. It just bends over and comes down, and it's right against the building. I can turn it a little bit and make it tighter, change position, whatever, but that gives the angle that I need. Now I could have went to Home Depot or whatever and bought an offset for, I don't know, they're probably $3-4 bucks. But this one I made for pennies just by using a piece of extra pipe. So, little hack for you. All right, so running the conduit, we offset it in 2 places up here to bring it closer to the tin so we could strap it down. Did it need to be strapped down? If I ran that pipe straight from here down, it's protected by this pipe. Was it going to get damaged or go anywhere? No, it wasn't. So did it need to be? No, it didn't need to be. But this is one that the electric company specifically requires. It said in the directions that it must be strapped to the structure, the building, whatever. So we just put a couple of single attachment straps on there, clipped it in, so it meets the requirement. We got another offset we did down here to go around our trim, and then we had to chip off a little concrete where it's spilt over in the foundation, but that footing goes down. Well, from there actually it's still another 14 inches down from that point, so it goes pretty deep, and not a problem. We just broke it to get it out of the way, and then we ran it down. We put in another piece of conduit there to get it clear over to the grounding rod, and so we're going to run our wire out. It'll attach to the grounding rod, and that'll meet our requirement. So let me get the wire and get to that next. So this is solid bare copper. The requirement for doing a ground is number 6, solid bare copper. Now I don't think it always has to be solid bare. I don't know. That's my power company's requirement again. Per the NEC, for a ground like this, the grounding conductor, whatever, the grounding loop, I don't know, whatever they call it, it never has to be more than a number 6. I'm using number 2. Ask me why? Just because that's what I felt like using. Now the challenge, of course, is going to be driving this through our offsets. It's not that the wire is too big, they're not pinched, it's that the wire's got to bend. I don't know. This might be a little bit of a challenge, but I guarantee we'll get it. All right, we weren't able to film that because it took both of us to do it, but let me tell you how we did it. So the copper, I tried pushing it through, but with all these offsets, it wouldn't push through. So I knew that we need to push and pull. So in order to pull it, we took our mule tape and I wrapped it around all the way, and I taped it with electrical tape so that it would hold. And then Lorena pulled and I pushed until we got it all the way through. And now I'm just cutting the electrical tape off.
It's like being in labor. Push, pull. All over again.
Nobody said breathe.
Hell.
Almost there. There we go. Okay, so we've taken our wire, attached it with an approved clamp that's made specifically for that, tightened it down good. Next thing to do is to make our connections inside the box, and then our ground is done. Just have to tighten that up. That's done. Alright folks, so there's how we did our ground. One continuous piece, solid bare copper. We use number 2, the requirement is number 6, so again, overkill. It's clamped using a approved clamp to the 8-foot grounding rod, which is copper clad. Strapped to the building. Comes up into the box and connects to the ground, which is bonded to the neutral. That is how they require for our meter to be done. And the meter is ready. We got our service wires all connected. There's our load wires, so line, load, and they go from the 400 amp panel out to the two 200 amp disconnects and on to transfer switches and main panels, which are treated as sub panels. So that's the whole system. We are ready to notify the power company that our part is done, and now we await them to get us on the schedule. Well folks, if you stuck with us through this video this long, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. Boy, this has been a journey. It continues to be a journey, and oh, there's a lot left to do. When the power company notifies us that we're on the schedule, they'll tell me to start digging the trench. I've got to dig a trench all the way from the power pole to where we pulled the service wire, which is where the transformer is going to sit. It's over 500-foot run, so that'll be a good ditch to dig. We'll do that with the little excavator, and the goal is we're going to put it 6 foot deep. Their requirement is a minimum of 4. We're going to go 6. Before we thought about going deeper, but after digging this one at 6 foot, we thought, yeah, that's plenty. It'll do the job we want it to do. If we cross over their wire at all, we have to have a minimum of 2 foot separation, which means if I bury something else that crosses over their line, I can bury it at 4 foot, still be plenty deep enough to where I don't have to worry about hitting it or doing anything on the surface, and it gives me that 2 foot separation to meet their requirements, so we'll be all good. So we'll be happy with that. But yeah, that's what we're going to do next. Well, we've got a lot of wiring inside to do and stuff for lights and finish up the RV panel. As we get to that, we'll be making videos, but there's a lot of stuff to do yet on this place. So we appreciate you following us, appreciate your support. We hope these videos help you out in some way or another, or at least they provide some entertainment. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Take care. God bless. We'll see you on the next one.